So I appreciate all that, man. I really do. It's been a long road, but I am so glad to be on the right side of the fence now. Whenever you are ready. Sure thing, whenever you're ready, and if you need me to mute, just say so.
You're tuned in to a Grown Folks production. In the mix. With the commish, Nate.
All right, what's up, Grown Folks family? Thank you so much for tuning in to Press Pass Live, your weekly OMFL podcast show. I thank you for being with me here tonight. We're back. It has been a long couple of days. Had to travel to Baltimore for work, got stuck there in the snow. Nate has seen snow less than 10 times his entire life, delayed coming home. Had to use today as a recuperating. There we go. I think that's the word I want. Recuperating day. So we're going to be winging it just a little bit tonight, but I have a special guest with me. But before we get to him, if this is your first time checking us out, you're watching the Press Pass Live podcast show for the OMFL, which is the world's longest online CFM in the world. We are 21 years old and still growing. I think we're going to hit 22 and just keep on rocking. We are right in the middle. I shouldn't say that. We're at the beginning of season 100. We just finished the off season. We're in week number 3 of season 100, and we're going to just tell the story of the OMFL. And one of the ways that we're going to do that, no OMFL news tonight. Usually we have these little segments called the OMFL news with Coach Brady, but he's out of town this weekend at a basketball tournament. So instead, I've got one of my really good buddies here tonight, Coach Raj of the Houston Texans. Coach Raj, how you doing tonight?
We're doing great, man. Hope everybody's doing well.
For some reason, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Let me try this. I don't know why, but the commentary is not wanting to catch up. Give me 1 second, Raj. Hold on. Right. Sorry, friends. This happens. Hold on 1 second. We're gonna reset this thing. There we go. that didn't do the trick. Why didn't that do the trick? It's okay. We're going to just do it manually here. I apologize, Coach Raj. I don't know why, but for some reason, the little buttons are not working tonight. Now everybody should be able to hear you. Coach Raj, how you doing tonight, bud?
We're doing great. Hope everybody's doing well.
Man, I'm so excited to be able to do this with you. You have been on quite the journey. So before we jump in to the OMFL, to your team, to the things I'm excited to talk to you tonight about, why don't you give everybody just a quick update about how you're feeling and where you are with the health?
Great improvements. Once they took the drain out, everything's progressed very rapidly. My doc took me off Narcos for the first time in 5 years. So I'm having a little bit of that withdrawal stuff, but I'm doing, all things considered, we're headed in the right direction, and we're quite pleased with the outcome.
Well, man, I'm glad that you're here. Let's talk about your Houston Texans. Because of the health situation, last couple of seasons have been tough because you just haven't been able to really concentrate on your team. But with the health thing starting to turn towards a positive light, it feels like you've been re-energized with your team. You came away in week 1 with a 31-21 victory, and then you took the champ to the ropes. You lost 30-28, but you were on no, you weren't. You were at home. You hosted Brady, but you had him on the ropes 30-38. Talk about your team so far. You're in week number 3. It looks like you played twice against Little Koch, but DCs with EA happened to you guys. How are you feeling about your team early in the season?
We made some changes in the offseason. I went with some younger, I stockpiled draft picks and went with some younger guys. And it seems to be working out a little bit. I still have this problem with third down. That killed me with Brady. I mean, he put up 21 on me in the third quarter, and that was just, I couldn't get him off the field. And what I had wasn't working, so I changed and went in a different direction and got into some new guys. But even that is just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm playing Brady. As far as the game with the Titans goes, we did play twice. We had 2 desyncs. It was a very, for as far as we got, it was a good, close, even battle, back and forth. Still, I think we both had the same problem. We couldn't get each other off the field on third down. Third down is harsh.
Yeah, one of the things that sticks out to me is the play of Deshaun Watson. Only 1 interception so far this season. He's got 3 touchdowns. He's playing really well. Has there been a change with play calling, with his skill set, with just kind of how the game's rolling out? What has been the difference for Deshaun Watson so far early in season 100?
My first 2 opponents both played deep shell coverage. So they left 15 and under open. And so I took it. I play a little bit of a gamble a lot sometimes because I have that speed on the outside and I'll throw it up. And that sometimes leads to picks. But when they're playing off like that, if everybody's playing off and those linebackers are dropping as soon as the ball snaps, I'm going to take that underneath stuff all day long. And that helps to improve his completion percentage, which is really strong. And it limits the interceptions. Yeah, it brings down the yards for catch and the yards for pass. And it makes it, you have to matriculate yourself down the field, to steal a word from old school, but it works out. So as long as they're playing off, that's what we're going to do.
What about Deshaun Watson's legs? Is this something that you're looking to implement a little bit more?
That's not my style. It never has been. I've had Lamar Jackson in other leagues, and people go, "Why don't you run with him?" It's just not me. It's not the way I play. Once in a blue moon, I'll break off and do a little scamper, but that's just not the way that I play the game. I never have played that way. Which is part of the reason that, in the beginning, I was willing to trade him and take the cap hit and go, here, somebody take this guy that can use him for what he's worth. I'll take that statuesque guy that has a cannon for an arm all day long.
Easton Madden, he was the import for you when you came over to Madden 22. As he made the Pro Bowl last year, has he been kind of the catalyst for that defense?
He's made the Pro Bowl every year, The problem that I have with him is coming from that outside linebacker spot, he's just not getting as much pressure as I would like. I did switch a couple things up, and he's got some down lineman duties in some of the 4-3 sets now. And that seems to have improved his pressure. It hasn't done much for his sack numbers, but it has improved his ability to get where he needs to go.
Now, looking at your wide receivers, you bought over Michael Gallup from the Dallas Cowboys. Plus, you drafted what I think you'd have to correct me because I'm starting to forget. He was one of the possible rookies of the year, but he didn't win. But he had an outstanding season. So you just have a lot of really good athletic wide receivers. What has Gallup and Winslow really meant to this offense?
I brought Gallup over to be the number one after season one. I brought him over in free agency. I was expecting him to be the number one guy, and he kind of drug his feet, and his routes weren't crisp, or there was too many drops and just too much stupid stuff happening. Collins actually played better in that second season than Gallup did. But then the opportunity came after season 98 to draft Winslow, and he lit the world on fire with that crazy speed. He just outruns everybody, and he did win the Rookie of the Year vote by a landslide, actually. Great player. He stretches the field, but the thing that he's brought now is everybody now knows he's there, so now they're playing off, which has opened up that dink and dunk game. Work your way down the field. Don't throw interceptions. You don't have to force the ball. So it's changed the way that the defense plays, which has helped the offense. I still can't run worth a damn, but that's another story for another time.
Well, let's talk about it right now. Let's make it a story right now because it's actually where I want it to go next. The running game has been a real struggle for you so far this season. What's the deal there?
I have no idea. I don't know if it's maybe the way that the D-line plays when we switched over, because the defense does react a lot faster on sim mode than it does on comp mode. So maybe it's that, because I didn't spend any money other than Tunsil. I really didn't spend any money on O-line because they were getting the job done for what I needed them to do pretty much on the other settings. So I really haven't spent, I didn't spend a ton of money. I didn't spend a ton of draft picks. I was just kind of going with a slap together a bunch of 70-something overall guys. And that's proving to haunt me a little bit now, as far as the running game goes.
What's the fix? Is there a fix for season 100?
There's no superstar lineman out there to go get, so we're gonna just keep pounding at it and hope to break one here and there and just do the best we can with it.
Let's talk about your defense a little bit. You have a lot of really good defensive linemen. You have a lot of athletic linebackers and some pretty good playmakers when we look at the cornerback position. Marcus Peters, Desmond King II. I mean, your first three guys are all over 80, and then your fourth and fifth guy are like high 70s, almost 80. So where is the area that you want to see improvement from this defense?
Third down stops is what I gotta have that I'm not getting. I actually made a couple of changes to some of the sub packages, and I moved this guy Session, the rookie there that you just were on. I moved him over to the strong safety, and I substituted King in at free safety because he's a little slower, and put Fuller at the slot corner to try to change something, because Brady just tore me up on third down. Even with Outlaw made some mistakes and threw some picks, but other than that, he was tearing me up on third down too. So I switched some things around in my formations to try to get some turnovers, get some stops. Remains to be seen, but maybe tomorrow when we finish our game with the Titans, we'll have a better idea of whether that worked or not, or if I need to go back to the drawing board.
This is season 100. The more that we kind of go into the season, I like the energy from the group so far, and I really hope that we can get season 101 before we go ahead and shut it down for this Madden. But you're going into season 100, if we are going to season 101 with $20 million in cap space and a pretty young team. How's the cap outlook look for the Houston Texans?
We have a huge re-sign because of the way that the game was when it came out. You didn't get the 5th-year option for your rookie guys, so Easton Madden has to be re-signed. That's gonna take a big chunk of that 20 mil when it comes time to re-sign him. It's good. That's gonna sting for a minute, but we also have some other guys that are leaving. We have middle linebacker Zach Cunningham his contract is up, and it doesn't look like we're going to renew him for the year. We drafted 2 middle linebackers, and actually both of those guys are now those 2 guys are now starting because it just wasn't happening with Cunningham. So make a change. You try something that don't work, change it.
What's the thing that's been most surprising about this team so far?
Most surprising to me is I've only thrown 1 interception, because I'm usually right up there with Priest, throwing picks like mad.
What's been that change? Like, what's been the thing that you think has helped you stop from throwing all those interceptions?
I'm not taking chances. I don't. The defense is not putting me is not baiting me into taking chances. They're playing off because they know I drafted another speedy wide receiver this year. So I've got 2 guys on the outside, 198, 196. So everybody plays off. And if they're going to continue to play off, I'm going to continue to just eat the middle of the field.
This is your schedule. We got the Titans on the docket right now. It look like you guys are going to try to play tomorrow. You got the Colts after that. Then you got the Packers. They're going to come visit you. You're going to be on the road against the Lions. Quite possibly could be a CPU game, as Trey has stepped away for personal reasons for a few weeks. Then you got to go visit Brady and the Jaguars. So you're going to get an early redemption game against him. Then you get the Raiders and Dolphins both coming to see you, going to see the Patriots, and then you finally get to your bye week at week number 11. How do you finish this first half of the season strong?
That game against Brady is my circle game. I have not beat him yet this cycle, and I want that game. How do I finish? We get a bye at week 11. If I'm at 500 when I get to the halfway point there at week 11, I'm a happy camper. I think 500 is reasonable. If I can be 5-5 at the bye week, I'm a happy camper.
And the second half of the season doesn't get any easier. You got Nipples and the Ravens, then you got Little Koch and the Titans again. Then you got to go see, it's slipping my brain. I want to say that's Mo and the Viking. No, it is our guy.
No, that's.
I was talking to him today. Truth, thank you. Yes, we got Truth and the Vikings, Duval and the Bears, our guy Kevin and the Eagles, and then you got Steve again and the Colts, and then you finish up with Tim and the Jets. So really tough to finish up the season. What are good, realistic predictions for the Texans for season 100?
If I can finish with 9 wins, that's really strong. That'll be my best season for this cycle, and I'll be really happy with that.
Well, we're pulling for you. Let's wrap up with a little word association. So I just want you to tell me the first kind of word or small phrase that comes to mind Whenever you hear things, I'm going to start off with a hot one because he's right here in chat. Brady and the Jaguars.
Tough.
AFC.
Stacked.
Running game.
Terrible.
NFC.
They're tough over there. They're stacked up. You got D-Money and Dwayne and Trey when he's on. That's a tough place to play.
Bunch closed.
Hate it.
Third down.
It kills me. Closed, tight formations, crossers, corner routes, they kill me.
Offense or defense?
Defense.
Zone or man?
I prefer man.
Blitz or man?
I prefer to play straight up man coverage and let my four guys do their thing.
Favorite position to play on defense?
Defensive end.
All-time favorite Madden player?
Favorite Madden player?
Yeah.
Wow. Ray Lewis.
Favorite OMFL Houston Texan?
Houston Madden.
If you had one game left to play, who would you play?
I want to play the best. I want Brady.
And finally, Coach, to end up our little interview, the OMFL.
It's home.
Give us a quick update about the NBC. I know the NBC took a bit of a break this season. What's the future looking like for the NBC?
I have a little mini league with some of my guys, some of my core guys that have been there since the beginning. We just kind of play it's kind of a sloppy little CPU league, basically. But we've talked about next year and where we're going to be, and we certainly intend to make a full court press and be back for Madden 23 or Madden whatever they call it this year, so that we will all be back and running strong.
Well, I can't wait to see it. I thank you for coming and hanging out with me just a little bit tonight, Coach. It was a pleasure. We tried to get him on camera, but he's like, yo, listen, it's been a rough couple of days, okay? So give me a little bit, but we're going to get Coach Raj back with us, and hopefully next time. He's supposed to be on the draft show with me this past year. He couldn't pull it off because some unexpected things with the family, and he pulled a Brady. He just disappeared. I don't know where he went.
I didn't disappear. I was here. My wife had her friends over to watch Walking Dead finale, and they're loud.
That's hilarious. Well, Coach Raj, I got nothing but love for you. One of the greatest OMFL owners that we've ever had. And he's only been here like one and a half Madden, something like that. So, Raj, I got nothing but love for you, man. Praying for you, pulling for you. Can't wait to hear that you feel like you're back to 100%. You feel like you're already like a renewed, younger self. So I appreciate you coming and hanging out tonight.
Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
All right, there you have it, fellas. Coach Raj of the Houston Texans doing a quick little interview with us. What's up, Kev? What's up, Brady? Appreciate you guys being in chat. I don't know what happened, but like a month ago, the OMFL chats, I forgot. So it's got clip guard on it. So if I like make noises like it usually cuts it off so y'all can't hear anything. But anyway, the chat's been dead. Usually the chat was so much fun. So I encourage you, come hang out on Sunday nights, 9:30, 10 p.m. Central. We usually fire it up, talk a little OMFL. Okay, let's look at our week 2 games. On the prediction show that we did this past Wednesday, we looked at some week 1 games, and man, week 2 didn't let us down at all. Tennessee and Pittsburgh Steelers going to a 17-20 game. Pittsburgh coming out with a 3-point win These are two really fun teams. I hope that we get to see this matchup whenever the games really start to matter when we get to the playoffs. Looks like both teams forced a lot of turnovers, 3 turnovers for the Steelers, but 5 turnovers for the Tennessee Titans. So that's what Jason does, right? He kind of plays, he plays really great defense. He forces you into some really tough throws, and then you go ahead and you see what happens. 283 yards for Benedict, only 97 for Coakley, but his real guy, this is the guy I think that is the starter, only 76 yards for Nolan, 1 interception for Nolan, 2 for Coakley, and then 4 for Benedict. So all of the quarterbacks that got into that one really struggled. And I don't know if these are injuries. Of course, it doesn't tell us that. And sometimes the guys just are like, okay, we got to try something here. We got to put in somebody else here. You know, Winovus was really known for that, right? Like Winovus would throw his backup in all the time. And so I can't tell if guys are throwing in their backup, but look at the running game here. 16 for 90, really good game for Najee Harris. Derrick Henry only touched the ball 16 times, only 68 yards. So the Pittsburgh Steelers did a really good job of shutting down the run game. Carlisle 5 for 107, Brown for 3 for 104 and a touchdown. So Tennessee putting up some big yards. That's 211 yards. Did I do the math right? So out of 283, 211 went to the 2 receivers. So you can see how this game kind of started to break out. Skikes with 3 tackles on the day. Fitzpatrick had 8. Watt had 7. Look at some sacks on the day. Watt had 1, Landry had 1, Hand had 1, and Kiki had 1. And then interceptions, 2 by Yair. I'm probably screwing that all up. I'm terrible with names. I got to get better. I think it's Jason who used to get on the draft shows and laugh at Nate messing up all the names. I'm just terrible at it. I'm Cajun. English is my second language, and I'm not even very good at it. 2 interceptions for Alexander, who's been nothing but a great playmaker since coming over for the Packers. Schobert with an interception. Edmonds with an interception on Tennessee side. Bryson had 1, Howard had 1, and Callahan. So lots of interceptions in that one, and lots of really good games. Cincinnati comes away with a 35-21 victory over the Los Angeles Chargers. I still have to say that like really, really slow. Tampa Bay and Baltimore, they didn't get to play. We talked about the Jacksonville and Houston game. That was a really good game. Green Bay with a 34-17 victory over, oh no, this was a CPU game, I think. Yeah, those 2 guys I don't think got to hook up. But still, Green Bay with a big victory over the CPU, which is not easy. New York Giants with a 27-13 victory over Buffalo. This game didn't get played, but it could have been a really fun one. Philadelphia coming away with a 3-point victory over the Washington football team, 29-26. I think I was going to bet on this game. I talked myself out of it, but Kevin, I know, has the ability to get rolling, but Cincyberg's going to get some things figured out in Washington. I know he's got the quarterback. He's just got to get a couple of those other pieces figured out. And I think there's also just kind of the hesitation of the new OMFL FPR and just kind of getting back into the grind of the OMFL. Cleveland hangs 44 on Kansas City, 44-20. New England with a 31-17 victory over Indianapolis. This was a great game. Minnesota 29, Miami 27. I just watched Miami lose another 1-point loss and a long field goal with the win in Seattle as the game ended. Bill has just had the worst luck, and if Bill watches this, I feel you, because Bill, that's what happened to me in last season. Just everything went against me. New Orleans with a 24-3 victory over the Denver Broncos. Carolina 34, Las Vegas 10, Atlanta 20, the Detroit Lions 17, and then Atlanta had another CPU game this week, because I think this one was CPU because Trey's taking a little bit of a break. And he lost in the last play of the game, the worst way, a Hail Mary, some random CPU wide receiver catches it in the middle of the pile and somehow skirts out the side. scores a touchdown. Dallas with a 21-27 loss to the New York Giants. It looks like this one wasn't able to get played. And then finally, Seattle Seahawks fall to the San Francisco 49ers. I watched this game. It's a really, really good game, 27-20 to wrap up week number 2. And we can see Priest just finished his game with our guy Duvall over in Chicago, and he said it was a great one. So I can't wait to take a look at that one, Priest. I don't know if he won. I shouldn't say congrats because I actually don't know who won that one. So that's a quick look at what has happened here in week number 2. And it has been a really fun season. The stats have been pretty consistent. There's a couple of crazy stats that we're kind of working on. It looks like quarterbacks are either like totally on fire or completely like not good at all. And so we're trying to find a little bit of a mix there. It feels like the gap there, it's a little bit of a hair trigger, but I have faith that we're going to be able to hit that just right. I'm enjoying sim mode, and somebody who practiced this a lot actually with Raj when the game first dropped. He and I like grinded a bunch of practices to find the right settings. Sim mode was like totally unplayable. It just was not a fun experience. It's fun now. Like receivers on sim mode, we get the catches again. We're getting some fumbles again, which is really nice. We're getting some penalties, which is nice to see. So a lot of really good things. Eagles and Bengals came down to the last play. You got to tell me about that, Kev, in chat. We'll put it up on the screen whenever you're able to tell us how that one went. But that seemed like a really, really good game. So the draft is rolling. Season 100 is completely rolling. There's just a lot of really fun things. I appreciate Raj hopping on with me here tonight and just doing a quick interview. I wanted to do some really quick, like, bold predictions, some hot takes, some way too early hot takes. And to do that, we're going to look at the standings really fast. Number 1, the Browns sitting here at 2-1. They scored 102 points. They've only allowed 65 points. I'm going to call it right now. Way too early prediction. The Browns in the AFC Championship against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Will it happen? I don't know, but we're doing some really hot takes and seeing how things go. Yes, safeties are not overpowered anymore. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. Giants are sitting at 2-0. They might win their division, the NFC East. They're going to push the Dallas Cowboys. That's going to be a really fun division. San Francisco 49ers, they're back at 2-0. Steelers are back at 2-0. The Jaguars, well, they're just still sitting here at 3-0, 117 points for him, 61 points against him. So a lot of really fun teams. Another bold prediction, the Jets makes the playoff, 3-0, 83 points for them. They're going to have to figure out a little bit more offense. They're playing really great defense, only 61 points against them. They're playing really good football right now, and 2 big wins on the road. To start out the season 3-0 and 2 of the 3 on the road, that's just playing really good football. Congrats to Tim and his Jets. Little Koch, he's got, Lost Sniper has the Patriots playing extremely well right now as well. Only 42 points on defense. And then we've got a bunch of like middle of the road players and teams. But look at the Packers, 2-1. So evidently he won tonight. He scored 91 points. I think he's won 2 in a row now. He's got the new running game. The rookie is playing really excellent football. So congrats to Priest and his Packers for having a really great season so far. Kevin says he stopped him short at the 10 and he ran out of time with no timeouts. It sounds like a really fun game. I've always said the Eagles season, who are always already sitting at 2-1, 73 points for them, 86 points against. So they've got to get that offense figured out. But I've always said it's up to McMillan. Whatever McMillan does, his quarterback, that's going to be what his team does. The season that they went on the road, went on a roll, I should say, made the playoffs. McMillan was up there for Rookie of the Year. He had in the 30s for touchdowns. He was also almost in the 30s for interceptions. But McMillan put up tons of yards, tons of big plays, lots of touchdowns. whatever McMillan does is going to be what that season does, and it's going to be really, really good. Denbrew drove down the field with down 5, 130, one timeout left. Very close. Good game. What's up, Trey? Good to see you, Trey. I miss having you in the chat, my buddy. You always brought really good energy, so I miss having you around, but I hope you're doing well. We'll just kind of leave it at that. No, I'm praying for you, thinking about you, my man. So we had Mr. Raj in here. We've talked about the games for week 2. Now I'm just going to do a very quick Commissioner's Corner. This is going to be a pretty short show. Again, it's a little bit on me because I just didn't have a lot of time to prepare. It was just a crazy week for me, traveling for the first time in a very long time. And then I go up there and it randomly blizzard storms for an entire day, and it just threw everything off haywire and all for killed. So people have been talking to me about 2 things. There's 2 things that really are on my mind, and one is about the settings, and I tried to explain, but maybe I can explain it a little bit more. Whenever we made the decision to go comp, it was kind of I don't want to make it a bigger deal than it was, but I would say it was a little controversial. The league was kind of split 50-50 if they wanted sim or comp. Comp kind of, I think, gets a bad rap because it is the mode that they use for all of the MUT games and all the competitive games that we see. It takes away some things, right? It takes away a lot of the weirdness that happens in sim mode, the randomness, which they say that is added into sim mode to kind of replicate kind of the random things that can happen in the NFL. So it takes away the randomness. It takes away things like you don't see fumbles that much. You're not going to see hardly any penalties. Penalties are very, very few. Pass interference from time to time. That's about it. And the receivers don't play the ball because the game is made to be clicked, right? Especially in comp mode, it's supposed to be full control. It's giving you, your players will play up to their rating, but it's you have full control. To me, comp mode is the rawest mode. It's gives you the most control, but because of the way we play, right, it did add in some tension areas of we don't click and we don't make any moves while the ball's in the air. And so it took some things away. It took away penalties, which we do want to see. We don't want them to ruin games, but we do want to see them. It took away sideline catches. It took away actually the player going for the ball if it was not super close to them. It took away things like fumbles. We just didn't see that many fumbles. It didn't see that many of those what just happened plays, either the Hail Marys or the catch and then hit by somebody in a fumble or a strip fumble or a strip, something like that. It kind of took away a lot of those plays. And since we did 3 seasons and kind of floated at 100, maybe our last in this Madden, we may go 101. My hope is that we go 101. I figured, like we do every Madden, we always swapped modes in the last season. It just kind of re-energized everybody, gave us something new, gave us something, the game played a little bit different, let's go try it. And then after trying the settings, which are almost identical to comp mode, in sim mode, it played good, it felt good. There's some tweaks that we had to make, like fumbles, like quarterback accuracy. I think that's really the main ones. Everything else felt really, really good. And we're still tweaking a little bit. I'm monitoring all of the stats every game. I'm keeping my eye on fumbles. We are tweaking a little bit of the quarterback accuracy, just trying to find that real smooth feel. And it was like it's last season. Half of the league already wanted sim mode. Let's try it. And I do understand the perspective of, we've been playing comp mode for 3 seasons. We've kind of built our teams to go that mode. We've got used to playing that mode, and now we're changing it. And some people like the change, some people don't. And I get it. I completely get it. But I think we also have to know that there were a lot of the league, half of the league, it's almost split 50-50. Even in my conversations, ever since we went comp mode, nothing has changed. Half of the league liked it, loved it. I was in that group, and half of the league didn't. I am enjoying sim mode, but I know some of our guys who really like comp mode and like that full control and kind of the realistic gameplay, they're not really loving sim mode. And we also have some new owners here, and so there's some rules that are kind of in flux, and I'm going to touch on that in the second part. So all I'm asking is, like, trust the process. This is something that is not new. We've done it the last 2 Maddens. Last season, we always changed the settings, and if we play one more setting, we'll put it up for a vote. We'll let the league tell us, what are we doing? We're going sim, we're going to go back comp mode. And I just feel like games feel more competitive. There feels like there's more energy, and guys just overall seem to be enjoying it. And the few conversations I've had that they haven't, I want people to know that I'm listening to you, and I'm listening to your perspective, and I'm taking it in, and I'm trying to make sure that we're making the best decision possible. And if you don't like sim mode, I want to hear from you. Like, what is it that you don't like about it? Can we do some slight tweaks that make you enjoy it? Or are there just things about the mode that you don't enjoy? And that's something that we gotta figure out, and know that I am listening, and I'm making the best decisions possible for the league. And ever since 2 Maddens ago, when we figured out that comp mode may be an option for us, the league has always been kind of split 50-50. So we'll see. I'm liking the change. I'm liking how it feels, but I know that not everybody's in that boat. And I want to listen to perspectives and learn from you, and make the adjustments. Here's the other one. And this has been probably the biggest tension since I'm the leader, right? From day one. And that is this idea of rules. And I think the older that I've got, the honest truth is the less hard, I don't know if I love that word, but the less tough I've been on owners about how I hold them to the rules. And I've been more gracious and more lax on punishments for rules. Now, I don't ignore rules. People I know kind of give me and label me this guy that ignores rule breaks, and that's not true. Like, I don't ignore rule breaks, but I am way more gracious today than I was when I was 24, 25, 28, right? And I had a conversation with an owner that I have nothing but great respect for, and somebody that I hope is here forever and ever and ever. And they gave some tough feedback to me, and some of that feedback carried a lot of weight. And one of them was, from their perspective, people can break rules because there's no real repercussions. Even though I think I've shown there is some, from their perspective, there is no real repercussions. What's up, Derek? Good to have you in the chat. Thanks for coming in, hanging out with us. And so we had this great conversation just around how do we do that. And so I really looked in the mirror, and the honest truth is I probably do need to tighten up a little bit more. And I'm going to be having some conversations with guys you already seen in the FPR chat in Discord. I gave out a warning tonight. There were 2 rules broken in a game, and they're pretty black and white in the rules, pretty easy to follow rules that we just got to know better. It's like low hanging fruit. It's not percentages. It wasn't too much blitz, like things that can kind of be debated. It's like black and white, don't do this, and they were done, and it was 2 of them in one game. And so it was just like, I got to give you a verbal for this, and if it comes up again, then hey, we've already talked, we were pretty clear about it, go brush up on rules. And then this off season, there was tremendous confusion around cap hit, cap penalty, and just overall cap limit. So let me just real quick, I want to go through this with anybody and everybody that watches this, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So I'm going to show you my page real quick. So this is my team. Let's come back over here. So this is my Saints team. The cap limit for the entire league is $263 million. That's that top left number that you see. We don't set that. We don't control that. And we don't have any rules around that outside of you have to be below that number. Be below that number, you're good to go. Then the next 2 numbers at that top row is this year's cap penalty and next year's cap penalty. So whenever you go into the next season, that $2.77 million will now be the current cap penalty, and it will be taken out of my cap space. So right now, I am $31.7 million below the cap limit. So I am at $231 million. I have $263 million, but half of that, $15 million, is tied up in past contracts. Guys I cut, guys I traded, guys I got rid of, and that was my cap penalty. This season and every season that follows, we have an internal league rule, not a Madden thing, an internal league rule that you cannot exceed $12 million. Well, Nate, you're at 15. How did you do that? You broke a rule. And I didn't, because you can earn more limit by participating in the incentive program. I don't remember the numbers. I think it's something like 245 or it's 125. I don't know. But you can earn more money that goes towards your cap penalty limit to increase the amount of limit that you have. In case you want to make more moves, you can make more trades, you can cut more players, you can play with your cap a little bit more. Well, why do you have a cap penalty limit? Well, when we first started the Madden in Madden 22, it was high. It was at 20. The next season went to 17. Third season went to 15. And then season 4 and on, it's at 12. The reason is because it makes everybody pay attention to their contracts, to their moves, and to their cap, because the cap of 263 just gets so big that guys don't have to think. They don't have to manage their contracts. They don't have to manage their moves. And it just takes the strategy behind cap management, player contracts, and player moves out of the window. So us putting a cap penalty limit now limits what you do and forces all owners to manage their cap appropriately. Top number, cap penalty or cap limit set by Madden, no rules outside of you have to be under it. The next two numbers, cap penalty, one for this season, one for the following season. Those you have limits on, and depending on where you fall on the scale, you have to make sure that you're under that limit. If you go over that limit, there is a penalty. It was 8 games. I think when I wrote that rule, we were in a bad mood. We have changed it to now 4 games. So I suspend a player, not a coach. I just pick a player on your team. I suspend that player for 4 games for going over the cap penalty limit, and you are not allowed to make any more moves, no trades, no signings, no nothing, until you're under that cap penalty. Actually, you can sign players, but you just can't do anything that adds to that cap penalty number. And so as long as you're moving players that have 0 money as a bonus, then you can move that player, but you can't move any player that will add to that cap penalty number. The bottom row, that is your current salaries. That's how many contracts you have out. Then that's how much cap space you have, that middle number. And the rookie reserve is actually broken this Madden, but it's usually connected to how much space you have to sign your draft picks. And usually I think you have to have between 8 and 12 or $14 million in cap space to sign your draft picks if you have all 7 of them. If you trade for more first and second rounders, you need to have more space. If you get rid of them and you traded them, then you don't have to have nearly as much space. So you can see there was confusion around this, especially with new owners who came in late last season. We had a group of owners that moved, and so we had a group of new owners that moved in late last season. They didn't manage the cap. They didn't know what was coming or going. They just kind of got stuck with it. And so we showed a lot of mercy and grace. And I will be honest, there was a team that broke the rule. And I showed them mercy and grace because I felt like, and the board did too, because we talked about it, that we had this group of new owners that we were not going to punish because they were new and they just didn't know. They maybe didn't even cause the issue. They didn't understand how all this works. And I just felt weird by punishing one other guy and not punishing the 3 or 4 other guys. I'm rethinking that. I'm just being honest. I got to have a conversation with an owner to just talk through it and just find what's fair, because this owner that gave me feedback tonight is right. I probably do show way too much mercy and grace, and there has to be repercussions for breaking the rules here. Trey said it in the chat. I remember there was an issue with Stafford a couple of seasons ago, and we just had to figure that out. And I'm always trying to treat guys fair. And I think when Nate makes a mistake, and I don't think this is like a character flaw, but when I have to pick, do I lean heavy on punishments and judgments, or do I lean heavy on grace? When guys make mistakes, I'm going to lean heavy on grace, because ultimately you don't have to play here, and losing owners is not a good thing, and I want to keep guys, and so I lean towards grace. And I understand that other owners who've given me feedback, one tonight, you have a great point, I got to do a better job of holding to the rules that we've all agreed to, but I still need to be empowered and given the trust that sometimes I'm going to show grace, and sometimes I'm not going to rule with an iron fist, and sometimes it's not even ruling with iron fist, it's just holding ourselves accountable to the rules that we've all chosen. So this is how cap works, and this is kind of my mindset that I'm going to try to take on for the rest of this Madden. So it's kind of bring us to the end, a little bit of a commissioner's corner about why we switch settings one more time. I'm there to answer questions. I'm there to talk it out with you. I'm there to get your feedback about what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And I wanted to just quickly say, like, this is my struggles as the leader in the OMFL about when to hold guys to rules and when to show mercy and grace. And the feedback was received tonight. I get it. When I don't always hold to the rules, when I do pick, people are like, well, why are you picking me right now? And so I got to start holding us accountable. And it's not me being mean or hateful or trying to like do something wrong to a team. It's just like, these are the rules that we agreed to. And so we all have to play by these rules. So I hope that makes a whole lot of sense for people. And hopefully that goes both ways, right? I will do a better job of being fair and holding us accountable. And I just ask that guys show me trust and that I can show grace whenever I feel like it is due, because sometimes we all need grace, man. And sometimes you just click the wrong button, or you were tired, or you maybe just got in a fight, or just had a bad day, or didn't do something at work, or your kid's upset at you, and then you log in to sign a contract or play a game and your head's just not in it, and life happens, right? And so things happen. I still call back to my game against the Panthers a few seasons ago. I wasn't trying to cheat. I wasn't trying to break a rule. As I had timeouts, I completed a pass at the 5. There's 12 seconds left. I called a no huddle. There was 2 seconds to snap the ball. I just pressed the audible, picked the first button that I pushed and snapped the ball. It was like, I'll figure out what happens when I snap the ball. I'm just trying to get this play off. And it ended up being a shotgun draw. He took it in for the touchdown. And as soon as I scored, I was like, number one, that was super, like, the most intense thing I've ever seen happen and experienced, and that's what we want in the OMFL. But number two, I broke a rule, and I broke a rule as commissioner that won the game, which is like another level of breaking a rule. But it wasn't on purpose. It's just like I was trying to get the play off. And so none of us are robots. None of us are perfect. And sometimes either we make a mistake, or like we're not in the right frame of mind and we do the wrong thing. And you know what I mean? Like, we're just human. And so I want to have a place that we can all be human sometimes. That also means that we agreed to stuff. And if we agreed to stuff, Nate's got to do a better job of holding us accountable to what we all agreed to. So I think I can come some way. And I just continue to ask for the ability to show the mercy and grace whenever we need it. So we're in a really great place here in season 100. There's a lot of great games. I'm not traveling until the end or the beginning of April. So I got a couple weeks here of no travel, and hopefully we can call some games this week. I got all the graphics done. The Pro Bowl's done. The owner awards are done. I got to make 1 or 2 more posts, and then off season is officially finished for me. I got to do an award show, which we're actually going to try to do live. I'm going to try to do a live award show this week, and then we'll call some games. I'm also going to try to break out all 22 this week. I'm going to try to break out the watch along. So the watch along is something brand new. It's where we put on a game that was already played. It will not be live, and we just watch it for FPR. We just have a FPR conversation, and I'll call out things I like. I'll call out things that maybe I don't like, call out things that make me nervous, and we'll just like have an open conversation about it. And I think those will be a lot of fun. And then tomorrow night, we're going to have Saints versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as I got to play Twinkie twice in 3 weeks. I don't know why the schedule did that. I mean, I enjoy playing Twinkie, but like 2 division games against the same guy in 3 weeks, that feels unfair to both of us. But both of us are having a pretty decent season, and we're going to dig into it. So come early as I do a Saints and Sinners about my team and where we are. And I've been trying to call those games a little bit differently lately, where I'm not just like talking, but I'm like calling my own game with commentary. So hopefully it'll be fun, and also doing some new things on stream. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Let's check really quick. Let's come back over here. I don't know if we have any questions, but we're going to check. Let's see. Do we have any new questions? Let's come over here to page number 20. We've already talked about these. Okay, so no new questions for Press Pass Live again this week. I'm begging you guys, begging. Give some questions. Our questions have lags. Our photos submitted have lags. Chat has been dead. It's piped up a little bit tonight. I don't know. I guess because football has ended and weather's getting a little bit better, people are already starting to venture outside, which it happens every year. I get it. I totally get it. But come help us. Come be a part of the content. I need you. And I'm going to start posting some DMs about Press Pass Live and questions and how to submit photos. There's just a lot of really fun things we can do. Guys, I love you. Know that you matter. You matter not only to us, but in your world. And I want you to know that. I want you to know that you matter, and you matter, a part of our content. So keep coming, being a part of the Grown Folks family, checking out Press Pass Live. Come hang out with me on my streams here. Come hang out with us on Grown Folks Live streams. We do shooter streams, all kinds of fun stuff. So come hang out with the family, be a part of the community. If you are an adult who's looking for a community, Grown Folks is an adult gaming community, all on PlayStation and Xbox. If you're tired of playing with randos, you're tired of playing with angry, toxic kids, if you're tired of playing with people with no microphones, come join the Grown Folks. If you play it, we have a group that plays it, and the OMFL is by far the world's longest online CFM in the world. And I'm going to try to continue to tell the story of the OMFL throughout season 100. Kevin says, who is going to dethrone Brady this cycle? Kev, make sure you post this so you get credit, because I want you to get credit for this. I don't know. I think that's a really good question. I think it's easy and lazy to say D-Money. It's just the easiest thing to say. And we're going to take D-Money off of the table just for the sake of this conversation. I would love to see what the Texans can, if they can continue to keep things going. I've seen Pepper get rolling with his team and get really, really hot and make a really, really hard push. Could he dethrone Brady? It wouldn't surprise me. Penguins, I think, would be at the tippy top of my list. If I was making a list of 3 teams, the 49ers would be on that list. He's Penguins. He's won multiple championships here. He's won multiple championships in a row. He definitely could do it. We've seen the Browns get on a hot streak. I've seen Jason get there. I robbed him of his one OMFL bowl. I'm still living with the guilt and the shame from doing that to you, Kev. But the Steelers could definitely be one of those teams that I think, because of how he plays the game, great defense, plays cornerback, he could pick you off. If he could get that offense rolling. Right now, he's only scored 42 points through 2 games. He's going to need a couple more points than that to beat Brady, but he has potential. Kobe had Brady on the ropes. Maybe that's not fair to Brady, but still, Kobe had the lead at a couple of different points in that game and was pushing him in that game. I'd love to see if the Patriots can continue to get over that hump. The Bengals, I know that he's not off to the greatest start. He's sitting at 1-2. He did lose Burrow, but he's a team that I think could do it. Nipples and the Ravens. When we've seen Nipples plugged in and engaged, we've seen him be able to push teams, win championships, get to OMFL bowls. Little Koch in the Titans, he just always feels like he's right there. He's just a couple plays away from making things happen. Chargers can put up tons of points. He's been in a couple of OMFL bowls. He's only put up 56 so far this season, but that offense is just like a couple of plays away from hitting a rhythm, and then he is off and rolling. The Panthers, I think, have a really great chance. Trey and his Lions, he's off to an 0-3 start. He is taking a bit of a break here. We'll see if he can come back in enough time. I know the Cowboys are off to a 1-2 start. You can never not talk about Dwayne and his Cowboys. His teams are always hot. Bill's a team. I know he's off to an 0-3 start, but he's lost like every game by like a combined 7 points or something like that. It's just something crazy. He's a team that I think could really get on a roll and make something happen. So if I'm making my top list of 3 teams that could do it, taking the Cardinals off of the list for the sake of the conversation, 49ers, Steelers, Falcons. Those are kind of the 3 teams that if I was making a list of 3 teams that I would put on there. So I think it would be a ton of fun. Yeah, Kevin, I watched some of that game, and I think I told you this. I just kept screaming at the video, like, slow down, Kev. Stop pushing it, Kev. Just do what you do. And I think you helped him in that one because you just kept turning the ball over. You just kept getting yourself to a place that get yourself in trouble. Yeah, you're right. Brady's the only team. 3 seasons, 3 OMFL championships for him. Year 1, he lost against D-Money. Year 2, he beat Dwayne. And then last year, he beat Kobe. So you're right. AFC, looking at you. Can you step it up and make those teams pay and be one of those teams that can push it? And it'll be interesting. I think this is a fun season, and I really am excited. And I wish I would have had a little bit more time to prep for tonight. I feel like my winging it was really felt on the show, but that's okay. I promise we'll be ready for the next one, and it'll be a ton of fun. So come hang out with us. Hit the sub button, hit the like button. If you're here, do me a favor. Close the chat, hit the like button. It helps us out a ton. It doesn't cost you anything. But if you want to help us as well, as you know, because we all live life, gas prices are up, grocery prices are going up, everything's going up. Well, we buy trophies in the OMFL. OMFL owners, I'm mainly looking at you. Trophies have doubled. Absolutely doubled in cost, and they've been almost impossible to find. So if you can pitch in $5 more, the $5 helps out a ton. So guys, I love you. Know that you matter. I cannot wait to see you on the next one. Be safe. Come see me tomorrow and hang out. Till then, peace.
Smash that like and subscribe.